Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Factual Fridays. Today we are going to be talking about marriage, and there's two different sides to it. There's some people that say, "Oh, I could never do marriage," but in reality, everybody really should be on the marriage side. We will go over points of that. I got one from Hadan that we'll watch first, Peace of Mind, and then some Jordan Peterson ones that we'll go over too. So the Hadan is a 20-minute one, so we'll just dive into that one and get going on this.
This guy the other day was like, "You need to put me on your roster." And I was like, first of all, sir, there is no roster, okay? I don't have a roster. I'm not really good at multitasking. And second of all, there's a line, all right? You got to wait your turn to get traumatized, all right? I can only ruin one man's life at a time.
If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the desert. Glad to have you all here. Ampu is welcoming you. But gentlemen, in the fog of war, a tank approaches. Oh my, what do we have here, guys? Ton. Look at how she's looking at me, guys. She wants to have me for dinner. Well, you're not gonna have me, madam. I'm out here in my tomb. You're not gonna approach me. We're gonna fend you off, alright?
Okay.
You're in the wrong one.
No, I'm not in the wrong one. I got rid of the wrong one.
No, you should know, because look at that. I don't remember being called that. It was like, I want to ruin people.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
There we
back
go. Now
to
we're
the
on
desert. Welcome back to my tomb, filled with snakes, scorpions, and harpies occasionally. Today, guys, we're gonna find out why marriage doesn't benefit women. In fact, it benefits men, wouldn't you know it? And I'm sorry for what I'm going to do next, which is show this woman, guys. Look, I'm sorry. Ampu immediately hid the moment he saw her. Ran for the hills. I'm sorry, guys. We've covered this woman quite a few times. She's quite unpleasant, but hey, it makes for good content. So let's check her out, guys. The title says, "Get married so men can feel entitled to your life." Okay, as the comment here says, a man posting, "Stay single, been married twice, my first cheated twice." And this woman responds. Let's have a listen.
Hey, Sneedrick. Don't know if you know this, but we're not really talking to you on this video. But anyways, hold on. Let me just, ladies, if we could all just give this white man some attention right now. He's a little confused at where...
I love how they have to specify white man. This white man, freaking white, disgusting. I love how the people who supposedly want everyone to be equal constantly bring up race. You know, the reason why I don't say this white woman is because white, black, Asian, albino, purple, I don't care about other people's races because I consider them equal, so I don't need to bring it up. But the people who supposedly are all about equality, they cannot shut their mouths about races and colors.
Where he's at, okay? He thinks that this is the right time to interject how he got cheated on. Probably because, you know, you didn't keep that body tight and became unattractive and then treated her like shit. Also...
Okay, so then it's okay to cheat, right? So when the other person is not fit, you are granted a free pass by society and morality to cheat. Is how it works. Also, I love it, guys. I love it. Every time a woman cheats, we go instantly with the, "Oh, you lost her. You didn't pay attention to her. Oh, poor little soul. She had to look for love somewhere else. Oh, you probably weren't fit and treated her bad, which is why she cheated." Just always immediately jumping to trying to, you know, take accountability from the woman. Imagine a man that cheats and society's first reaction is... Probably the woman got fat, you know, fat and disgusting, and this is why the man had to cheat. He was forced to. Just pathetic.
So,
Oh
what
my
makes
God.
you think that this woman belongs to you? Oh, is it a marriage contract?
Yep.
Do you want to be one of these ladies that had to cheat on your husband because you couldn't afford a lawyer to get away from this guy who was treating you like shit, most likely? Do you want a man to say, hey, you're a cheater unless you have sex with me and only me? Because you're a cheater if you don't have sex with the one person that you have a contract with.
Yeah, that's the definition of cheating. Having S3X with other people outside of the boundaries of your marriage, your relationship, that is what cheating is. I love this woman, guys. She's like, what? So now I am a cheater just because I had S3X with all these other people I was not in a relationship with? Then that makes me a cheater? Yes, that's the literal definition of it again. Why? Why do these people exist?
That's marriage, ladies. You're a cheater because you won't roll over.
Because if these people didn't exist, then there wouldn't be content out there for us.
I mean, it's like, I like how it starts off by saying this video isn't for you, not talking to you, and it's like, but it is a public video.
Well, not just that, she makes it about him, doesn't she?
Yeah, she did.
I mean, she's answering everything and she's saying it, so it's going to be about him now.
And what does the comment say?
It says, "Stay single, been married twice, my first one cheated twice."
Huh. Well, I mean, it's like, it's a better way to look at things, but, you know.
Because her thing was, get married so men can feel entitled to your life.
Yeah, like sarcasm.
I don't know.
Like you're doing a great service somehow to
Yeah.
them, and like, yeah, that's kind of the way that I've seen that it's been looking with modern women and everything. And the minute that it doesn't work out the way they want, it's okay. It can just get a divorce.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Divorce has been thrown around so much now. Like, it's so easily done.
Yeah, just sign a paper and you're done. You
Yeah.
got no court hearing. I mean, court hearing to find out who gets what, of course, but no court hearing to see like why. You know, I guess it's the no fault divorce.
Yeah, and it's just people don't care anymore. They don't want to fight for it.
Mm. It's like it's not even in our vocabulary. It was never part of our vocabulary. So yeah,
it's sad.
Yeah.
It's a sad day and age that we live in right now.
I mean, there's no way she's married. There's
No.
way, right?
No.
I mean, she sounds chewing her face.
Over onto Chubby Joe, because Chubby Joe gained a few pounds, thinks that he's entitled to Bex with you for the rest of his life. Turned into an a-hole, an alcoholic. You're a cheater. Because you don't have a job, because you relied on him financially. And they're not going to get it. They're never going to get it. I mean, the fact this guy thinks it's an okay idea to pipe up on this video is just the entitlement a man has, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. How dare you? You patriarchal pig, you disgusting human being. You disgust me. Going out here, talking about your poor victim wife's infidelity as if she wasn't forced into it by you chubby Joe. How dare you? The audacity that this man has to get cheated on. You know what I mean, guys? Disgusting human being.
The entitlement that somebody has in this conversation. This is the equivalent of me going onto somebody's video who's talking about how they were treated poorly and somebody was racist to them, and I'm like, whoa, people were racist to me too because I'm a white lady. Like, the audacity.
I know.
Like, whoa. Gains.
Did you see her hand, guys?
Whoa, this lady just turned into Mickey Mouse. How weird.
Total fucking cartoon character.
Oh.
And it's like, maybe it struck a chord and it's relatable and you get a good dialogue stuff.
Yeah.
You can accept like a different perspective, I guess.
Well, no, because it's away from her.
Yeah.
It's not what she's saying. And she's the entitled white woman.
Yes.
So it can't be on him. Heaven forbid.
She's trembling. She's trembling right now. What's going on? A man is sharing a bad experience that he's had. But only women are allowed to be victims. What is happening? She's trembling, you know, she cannot comprehend it, guys. Doesn't compute. Because according to womanists, it's only women who are victims. And even when men get cheated on, they are somehow still to blame. They'll turn the world upside down rather than admit that not all men are bad and that all women are good.
Some self-awareness, bro. Your wife's probably getting her nails done, looking all pretty every single day. What you doing? Just expecting free sex, just expecting a marriage and a housekeeper for your entire life, and for you to just turn into a pile of... I don't care that your first wife cheated twice. I really don't care. What makes you think that it's okay to make a woman promise her life to you? Like, really? What makes you think that a woman is entitled to give her body and her life to you? Marriage is a social construct created by white men to make sure that they always have access to a woman's body. That's all it is, ladies. Do you want to get scammed? Get married. And then you have to listen to this.
Oh, she said it, so it must be true. Marriage is a scam. You heard it first, ladies and gentlemen.
BS. Ladies, these men need to be acting right. And the minute they don't act right, have your robot see them out the door. That's the future, baby. Friedrich, you're so fucked.
What the hell?
I cannot imagine anything worse than having to live with this woman. I really can't. If Satan wanted to punish me, I think this is what he will come up with. Guys, I feel like I'm not even real in this very moment. I feel like I'm in a fever dream. I cannot... my brain cannot comprehend how some person may be this bad. Like this bad. And she's not insane. Clinically, you know, she's mentally unwell, we can all see that, but she's not technically insane. She is a person who, you know, has some sort of resemblance of wisdom, critical thinking, allegedly. I cannot understand it, guys. You know, let's just move on to our next TikTok. Again, Frederick, you made the terrible mistake to get cheated on. I don't want you having this audacity ever again to get cheated on, all right? You pig. You disgust me, Frederick. You really expected your wife to be loyal to you? You really expected her not to cheat? You patriarchal pig. You wanted to own her, right? Like your property? Disgusting, guys. The vows in front of the altar, they're just a formality. They don't really mean anything, you know? The vows of through sickness and whatever else it was, till death do us part. Come on now, don't be patriarchal, right? Till death do us part. What? The woman can cheat and get out any minute she wants. Is how things should be. And in the future, when we have robots, the moment you misbehave, the moment you don't pay the bills to the cent, the robot is kicking you out and probably beating you outside the door, you know? What these feminists want, guys, is for men to be like dogs on a leash that also pay the bills. And the moment they misbehave, kicked out of their lives and immediately, you know, changed for another dog on a leash. It's their dream. But now, enough about that witch. Let's move on to this one, guys. Let's see what she has to say.
Things that are actually male-on-male courtship.
Look at this thing.
Heterosexual male courtship. Number one is massive muscles. That's for the boys. That is for the boys. No woman needs you to look like that. We don't care. No. The second you put a steroid to your skin, it's for the boys. It's not for us in any way. No woman. Well, not no woman. I know which women like that. I've seen them. They are unstable. Number two is all that shit you do with your facial hair. That's male on male courtship. That is not for any woman. Number three is the cars. Like, a nice car is nice and all, but all of that extra shit, that's for the boys. That's because you like to suck dick in nice cars.
All right. I mean, first off, you're not even correct. A man's facial hair goes a very long way with women. A very long way. They really like beards. Second off, they also like cars. Like, you literally went for the two biggest stereotypes. There are stereotypes for a reason. Women just love fast and shiny cars. They become professional stitutes the moment they see a nice car, all right? Women absolutely wet their pants with nice cars. So, just, no. But regarding her point, guys, male on male culture. Look, it's going to be a hot take, but I think, guys, that liking women is gay, honestly. I mean, you like women, and when you ask men, why do you like women? Oh, because they are soft, because they are delicate, because they are pretty. It's just so gay. Go like a man instead. You know, go like a man's raw power, his stamina, his strength, his stoicism, you know.
Andrew Tate has gone off on a tangent talking about that, saying if you like women, then you're gay.
Yeah, see, I know that there was some that I was looking at to put on here about him too, but all his were against marriage.
Of course, yeah, because it's like from like a socioeconomic point of view, I mean, it's a big freaking risk, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that's all they're really looking at. They're not looking at the health benefits, the longevity, like how you'll never be as successful as if you have a marriage and a family. But yeah, I mean, I get their point when they like are discouraging it. Because,
of course.
Yeah, from a materialistic, socioeconomic point of view, it's really, really risky. And like even with that last comment with that guy saying that, you know, his wife cheated, you know, so
yeah, but that's done with today's society.
Right.
Not done how marriage is supposed to be done.
It's like,
and nobody said the marriage is supposed to be easy.
Right.
You're supposed to fight through it, but people on this day and age don't want to do that.
Right. And the first woman was talking about, oh, so it's just supposed to be this contract. Well, it's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it's literally a contract. And, you know, he puts some stuff on the line and you put some stuff on the line, and then you guys, like,
see if you can do it together.
Right.
And you really work at it. You don't just say, oh, we tried.
Yeah.
It won't work, so we're going to go get a divorce.
Right. It's like back in the day, get like stoned in the street for that sort of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I get what they're talking about. But yeah, for some reason, for Andrew Tate, he did have, you can't take half of what he says seriously because of shit like that. But yeah, he was saying that, you know, like if you do these flowery things for women and you do, you know, you like women, then you're gay, and it's like it's more of a gay act. I'm like, so
no.
So we're going back to the Greco-Roman Greek period where it was not gay to be with men, but gay to be with women.
Yeah.
You know, it's
reverse psychology, I guess.
Yeah. It's like, you remember Meet the Spartans, like, oh, you're someone of those kinds of societies. Okay, yeah. I got you. I see. All right. You like to be free. Okay, go ahead, do your thing. But it was just a way to justify their homosexual.
It's true. It was.
Like, I found out the Spartans, on the night of the wedding, they would cut the women's hair short and make them wear boys' clothes, right? So that they were not intimidated. Well, it's because just they didn't have a lot of, like, contact with women. They knew how to be with men at that point. So
that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Be a real man and go like masculinity. Go feel sexually aroused by masculinity. That's what a real man does. Not this pansy things of like, oh, I like a woman because she's delicate, because she's feminine, because she smells nice. She's pretty and cute. Just so gay, guys. It's so gay, you know? So, I don't know if you agree, guys, but I think that it's a fair conclusion that liking women is just gay, all right? Go like men instead. But now, let's move on to our article story, guys.
Shit, might as well.
As I switch on to the scene. And let me tell you, I
can't hear when we talk.
I wasn't necessarily talking to them. Okay. I was just like talking in general, but yeah, women are so hyper masculinized now. You might as well. I mean, it's like you might as well be. You know.
Exactly.
Like he has a very dry sense of humor.
He does. I love his sense of humor. I like Locke a lot too. Yeah, because Locke's funny.
He's just a little bit crass.
Yeah.
Found another article. I'm gonna hide this for a minute. I found another article that is this one. Now this one, don't spoil yourselves, don't read it. This one got deleted. Geez, sadly it got deleted. So when I click on it, I cannot see the full story, but F you, person who deleted it. I'm gonna read it regardless, in front of 5,000 people, right? F you, I'm gonna do what I want. Don't delete it. You decided to post your massive L, now I'm gonna read it.
I have yet to hear his stuff on Patreon, but I want to. Because I want to see what he's truly like, and not when he's being censored by the YouTube algorithm.
He's really sensitive about his cussing and stuff too.
Here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just seems like it's him in general because he gets embarrassed.
Yeah.
By it because I remember I did a reaction to it. I mean, it totally caught me off guard. He said something. He actually said the full F word or something, and then it just like the way he started laughing afterwards. He's like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "That just like." It's like they came out, and he's like, "But you know, there was no other better word."
Yeah.
So, but it was just like it was a genuine like embarrassment, and I think that's pretty funny.
It is. You don't see it in too many people anymore.
No.
Too many people now are just like crass and just out there.
Like, I mean, at least on the girls, like I don't see it so much with the guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like even Loki, he's crass with his jokes, but there's not a lot of like excessive cussing.
And he's more space bound for his talking too.
It's like it's a role, it's a character.
Yeah.
Right? Same thing with Taylor, and I don't think he really cusses, and Mediocre doesn't cuss, you know.
Nope.
So it's like all the good classy men's channels they're pretty good, but
Yeah.
man, these women on TikTok, they rattle off the F word like every other word.
Well, yeah, because they're being the true them.
That's masculinity.
And yeah, it's
born
ridiculous.
on a feminine form, and it doesn't look good.
No.
Shit.
No deleting it anymore. But anyway, Lola Simplestein writes, "Guy I was dating chose someone else. I, 22 female, was seeing this guy, 22 male, for about 2 months. And although we both originally wanted something casual, I started to really like him." So we have the usual stupid women who get into something casual and then, "Oh no, I caught feelings." You morons. I was planning on guys. This is as if you allow some stranger to get into your house and you both agree and sign a contract that he's going to be there only for a month, only while he finds something better. And then after a month, this stranger comes to you and says, "You know what? I actually want to stay here forever." Haha. No, we already signed a contract. You decided for this to be casual. Why are you catching feelings, you moron? Anyway. You cannot expect women to be to have continuity with their actions, you know. I was planning on bringing this up the next time I would see him, which was supposed to be a few weeks ago. I saw he had deleted his old profile and saw that he liked some I fell in love Instagram posts. So my delusional self thought that he was feeling the same way. He kept canceling our last meetings and eventually told me he met someone else who he wants to follow before we can continue. So this woman, guys, in her room, you know, we're laying on her stomach with her legs up, you know, wiggling them, and seeing this man liking love pictures and, you know, chuckling to herself, he loves me. And then only to find the bitter truth, it was someone else. Wow, very heartbreaking. Apparently what we had was mostly based on lust. And it was just a bonus that we got along so well. I sent him a follow-up text confessing and we are left on this, what was it called? Cliffhanger? We are left right here, guys. We cannot see the end of the story. Again, it was deleted. But this whole situation is so funny. It's so pathetic. She says mostly based on lust, as if it's something disgusting. You know, according to him, it was mostly based on lust. Yes, you moron. That's what something casual means. It's two people making use of each other for recreational purposes that boil down to having...
Yeah, it's what they wanted. That's what they said. Casual. So, yeah.
Your estriaxial animal desires met and your need for validation because your father never paid enough attention to you. That's what something casual is. If you want to be involved in that, don't do it. Secure the commitment up front. You spread your legs like a dirty, stinky street 304. Don't come later wanting to step things up, right? I also love how in like 99.99999% of the cases, these casual things don't result in serious relationships, yet women still use this as a dating strategy. It's like, can you picture, guys, being so insane that you will go for a strategy that has a 99.99% loss, and a defeat statistic? And these women. Anyway, guys, sadly cannot read it all, so we're going to read this one instead. I've got a radical thought about online dating. Please hear me out. Well, guys, I am all about being radical. I'm a radical patriarchal pig. I'm a radical misogynist. I'm a radical ruler. Well, not yet, but I intend to be. So like and subscribe. I'm radical in every aspect. So let's read this, written by C. More Boobs. I absolutely agree with this person's statement, and I stand for it.
Wow.
But now he says, what if it were a way slower process, talking about dating, and it was like sending emails over the period of about a month instead of messages back and forth on an app? As I look back, I kid you not, things seem to have gone better when I've gotten a girl's email or Insta, and we both take a full day or more, maybe two, to get back to each other. Almost like it builds anticipation for some reason. Has anyone else experienced the same?
Or God forbid, an actual letter.
So I'm guessing this is a Zoomer, right? This is a Gen.
Or heaven forbid, like though just an actual letter.
Yeah, we used to do actual letters. I mean, we
Yes.
did the email thing too, but we did, have like actual handwritten letters.
Yes. That is true.
It's like that.
Is he
It's a big difference.
It is. It's a very big difference.
man who is quite young, and in his fever dream reality that has become our shared reality, he gets some hints of what it used to be like to court a woman, the courtship period when people were serious with each other and they had this prolonged time of getting to know each other, being playful and all that things, before we turned instant gratification into our God and hedonism into our religion. Before all of that, yes, we had situations like these where you will build anticipation with a woman, and there was a game, and you both liked each other, and you both knew it, but it was also like kind of risky. You wanted to make the best impression. You didn't want to lose her, yet you understood that she's not dating other men at the same time. So you understood that she likes you enough, but does she like me enough to actually commit, to have something serious? It was this game back and forth of playing around, and that's how it was before we started to, the whole dating, the whole courtship period is 3 lines exchanged on Tinder, and then we go to smash like animals. So I love how he calls it radical. It's radical to have normal human experiences and a courtship period that lasts more than 3 sentences on Tinder. Our reality is so clownish, guys. Something funny I often do is think about how will people from like 2 centuries ago react to our world. And man, will they be devastated? They will be so glad that they died like 2 centuries ago. They wouldn't be able to express it. But gentlemen, thank you for watching today's episode. I hope you had a good time. If you did, like and subscribe, and you can find more exclusive content on my Patreon. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.
I love this new photos. Look at
I
this.
know, it's so cool.
And then what's this dog's name?
Anpu,
Ampu. Yeah.
which is another name for Anubis.
Yes. And then you got an after school. About marriage.
Fewer and fewer men are looking to get married these days. The Pew Research Institute recently found that the number of men ages 18 to 34 saying that having a successful marriage is one of the most important things dropped from 35% to 29% since 1997. The number of young adult women saying the same thing has risen from 28% to 37% in the same time. This statistic made me wonder why so many guys out there are saying they don't want to get married. There seems to be a growing subculture of guys who say they'd rather avoid it altogether. I grew up thinking that marriage is just what you do when you hit a certain age. Now I'm questioning it. Why do we get married? Where did the tradition come from? And what are the pros and cons? This video will aim to answer these questions and see how marriage.
So they weren't really wrong. They say that, you know, like the feminists will say it, and sometimes the men will say it, that marriage was invented to gatekeep sex. You know, like keep it within certain and have it controlled and everything. They're not exactly wrong, but there was a much bigger, deeper meaning behind that, because as we know, we have rampant disease now because of casual sex. We have a bunch of illegitimate children now because of casual sex.
Yes, we do.
We have a lot of societal issues, material issues, socioeconomic issues, all because people were having casual sex, you know, medical. So they weren't really wrong in trying to gatekeep that and make it be a little harder to achieve and have between certain people. So,
but now it just went a whole different way.
Now they see it as a bad thing, and it was like when they were gatekeeping it and everything. I mean, like I said, they weren't wrong, but there was a good reason behind it.
Exactly.
Because like when that was happening, we didn't have the disease and the economic problems.
No, we didn't.
And the illegitimate children and everything.
Yeah.
Divorces, we didn't have that. You know, so it was. I mean. So that maybe it was invented to gatekeep it, but maybe there was a good reason behind that.
If the science works and you see it within the facts,
right.
then, I mean, what can you say to that?
And I mean, it's like, I think, if you don't want to get married, that's fine. But again, you shouldn't be engaging in lascivious behavior. You know, it's like,
I mean, especially like we are watching on American Horror Stories, the gay communities.
Yeah, there's just something about that whole community is just such a risk-taking.
Yes.
Like community, and it started in the 80s, and it was like it went rampant, and you had a lot of diseases and stuff that were spread that are still out there today, and
a lot that were hard to control.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, there's like dangerous situations happening, you know.
Yes.
In particular in this show, there's like this dangerous situation, like, oh, let's all go down to this warehouse and we'll wait out the blackout together.
Oh my God!
And what do they do? They have a giant orgy. You know, it's like, that's not safe, and people are being killed in the city. And I mean, I know it was just a horror story, but it does happen in real life. It is risky. It has happened in the past, and they do it anyway. You know, so it's like the risky behavior. You know, so there was a reason for marriage.
Yeah, for sure.
And men live longer when they're married. They have more productive lives.
Well, and I mean, you get down to the basic roots. The point of reproduction on a human is for procreation.
Right.
Is to keep the race going.
Right.
Now, you would think, for that, you'd want to be doing it with everyone.
Right.
But what you truly want to do is pair with somebody that is going to up everything
the quality,
about you.
Right, yeah. Like it's going to enhance your genetic code instead of just breaking it down.
And that might sound like it's selfish or like it's egotistical, but I mean, that's facts to what.
Right. I mean, it is true. It's like that's a
genetic code.
Right. That's a good way to vet out, you know, to find the best one to to elevate your genetic code for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. Damn it, I had something to go off of it and I forgot what it was. It was fine. It'll come back around. But yeah. I mean, you want to elevate. And, you know, and the thing is it was told by some higher being at some point.
Yeah.
Whether you want to believe that it was an ethereal god that nobody's ever seen, or humans from the future, or some other alien race, it was at some point or another told to ancient humans that this is the way, that you need to pick a singular person to spend your life with and make as many children as possible with that person. That's what, you know,
exactly
you can do.
Yes.
It was told to them by a higher being. So who are we to question now in this day and age not to do those things?
Well, exactly. And getting into all of that gets into a whole new level of upper thing of marriage and everything like that, because that gets into the universal purpose.
Right. And well, we are monks. That's
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do, is talk about the spiritual, more divine side of it.
Exactly.
And I mean, if these beings were smart enough in ancient times to know not to eat pork because it was unclean and could cause disease,
Exactly.
or to have a circumcision because it could potentially cause diseases if they were that set on it, and those practices are still in place today,
Then there's got to be a reason
Right.
why they've always been there.
Exactly.
Yes.
And marriage was at the very, 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 very top.
Yes, it was.
And, the negative confessions say not to shy away from normal procreation and to bind yourself with one partner.
Yes.
In a day and age where polyamory was like a popular thing.
Exactly.
Or maybe not polyamory, but polygamy. All right. Lost the mitten. This is gonna be fun.
Oh, did he? I saw this. Just his.
Oh no. Okay. I thought it
No,
was...
I just saw
okay.
his frog. I was just handing him back his frog.
His
Sorry,
head's up.
sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This will be a new age for this show for a
It's
while.
frog. If you're wondering what frog we're talking about,
Yes.
that's frog.
Here's the frog.
It's the Moses frog, and Guru
Yep.
had a frog, and
It kind of runs in the family.
we found out that it is a fertility and good luck childbirth thing. So how they come around is
See?
is
That's
funny,
cool.
right? Good. Yeah, good.
Marriage fits into modern day culture. But first,
Yeah,
let's take a quick look at the history of marriage. The first humans, who lived about 5 million years ago, had very little use for marriage. Using the behavior of bonobos as the basis for how early humans would have behaved, it is
Yeah, I mean, thinking about that, there would be no purpose to marriage, like
No.
for the cavemen with this or that, because they
Base
didn't think about this is my. Well, they thought about this is mine, but it wasn't in that terms. Like a female that the man would have gotten just would have been his, and that
Right,
it would have been no.
It would have been more animalistic. It would have
Yeah.
been more like a horse's herd.
Yes.
Or a lion's pride or something. It was like it'd be more territorial and more, probably brutal in that respect.
Yes.
I think you've seen the baboons, right? The
Yeah.
fans of baboons and
Oh yeah, all those videos that we watch, man. That
Holy
freaking
shit.
yeah.
They'll grab a hold of their girls.
They go to war over it.
Yeah.
Like tribes go to war
And
over
if a female's even looking over at the other one, man, he fucking throws her to the ground and starts beating on her, and it's just so I imagine it's probably something closer to that.
Yeah.
In that regard, but they would have no purpose of like higher elevation of thinking. Just pick the best one and stay with them.
Exactly.
It was just, it was a different time.
It was, yeah.
The race was new. There wasn't very many of them. They had to get out as many as possible.
Exactly.
But that was a fun time.
It is presumed that early males and females had sex with many partners. They lived in open, polyamorous communities where food was exchanged for sexual favors. Because females could collect food, fruits, nuts, and insects, while still caring and protecting their babies, males were not needed as protectors or providers. This meant that neither partner gained from being in a committed pair. As the climate heated up, the forests receded and humans ventured out into the savanna. We began walking upright, hunting with tools, and our brains got bigger. Our large brain size is the reason human babies are born so helplessly early and require constant care from their mothers. During the period of 1.8 million to 23,000 years ago, survival was hard, and the offsprings that had the best chance to reach adulthood were those that had two parents that worked together to raise and protect them. This survival strategy gave birth to the first marriages. These were not quite like the marriages we imagine today. Couples in this period would stay together for about 3 or 4 years before one or the other would wander off to start another family. Perhaps this is why divorce rates peak between 3 to 4 years in modern-day marriages. Relationship dynamics completely changed when humans began to grow their own food. Agriculture meant that humans were permanently tied to the land. The most productive household arrangements were ones in which men and women divided their tasks. Men who are physically stronger work the land.
Yes, because men and women, they both have very good own things that they can do. You know, women are very good with the household chores. They're very good with the maternal chores. They're very good with animals. I mean, the nurturing, anything like that, a woman is very good at. And men just, we can't take that much in of that side because we've got the harder, like working the land, fight or flight,
defend the family, single-minded, you know, like hunter-gatherer thing, you know. Men are traditionally hunters. And that's why even like your eye vision is different. You know, you guys can see really straight ahead, like right ahead, like really good. And where we can see on the sides better.
Yeah, see, so that's like, interesting.
Like going way back. So it's like we were made to be able to take care of a baby and manage an animal and pick berries all at the same time, while you guys are like single-mindedly focusing on either hunting or defending. You know, against a predator or an enemy or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's like, and like, why do you want to? I mean, if we still have, if our eyes haven't changed over all these thousands of years, then probably not a lot of other things have changed either. So why shy away from your natural?
Exactly.
You know, I don't understand that. And it's like,
no, but see, now people are too into the party scene. They're too into
want to work.
Gluttony. What else would you call it? Gluttony, excess, and
it's just hedonism. You know, really, it's
just what do you call it?
Self-gratification.
Well, having fun, like self-gratification, but
yeah, I got you. Yeah.
You know, the dopamine levels rising.
Right. Yeah. Making yourself happy. I just want you to be happy. I just want to be happy. You know, and it's like it's not always about being happy. And if people kind of got out of that mindset, it would change a lot.
Yes.
And you know, women, they don't trust men enough now, and they want to work, and they're like, it's really important for them to make their own money. And
the boss bee mentality.
Yeah, to be independent of that, so they don't have to depend on a man. We're made to.
Yes.
You know, and so go ahead and put that out there. Try, and just know that you're strong enough to survive if everything falls, because we have for thousands of years done that too. You know, men have died in war. Men have died on the trails. Men have died and left, you know, for thousands of years, and women have continued.
Well, yeah, women have had to act like they're a man to keep property.
Right.
And, you know, do everything of that nature while raising the family to make sure that they were good. I mean, women are amazing.
Right. But it's like,
I mean, I just had you going through the childbirth process. I mean, that's an amazing process.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, so I mean, we can make it through if we have to, you know, but we're not made to. It's like we're made to be dependent on you guys.
Exactly.
You know, just like you guys are made not necessarily be dependent on us, but to benefit from our services. You know, so it elevates you, you know, but I don't know. They've thrown it away.
They have. Exactly.
And while women stayed closer to home and cared for children. This is the era in which marriage became a lifelong union between two people that was recognized by their community. Agriculture tied people to their land, meaning that at the end of the 4-year period, neither men nor women had any inclination to wander off and find a new family. And so they stayed together and worked as a unit to feed and care for their children. The creation of marriage as a legal contract between men and women came into being over time as communities settled and monogamous relationships became a necessity for a long, productive life. So the real origin of marriage came from the biological desire of both men and women to see their children survive. It was the evolutionary dominant strategy. In the last few thousand years, marriage became less about a survival strategy and more about a way to control power. It became a tool to strengthen alliances, maintain wealth, solidify social class, control female sexuality, and fulfill religious duties. Arranged marriages were the norm around much of the world up until the mid-20th century. So now, most of us watching this live in a society filled with abundance. We are at the top of the food chain. We don't have to defend ourselves from saber-toothed tigers anymore. Many of us are not strictly religious or rural farmers. Our parents aren't arranging us, and we don't need to form alliances between kingdoms like in Game of Thrones. So you may be wondering, why are we still getting married? We no longer need the institution of marriage to ensure the survival of our species. Life doesn't have to be a conveyor belt of common events where you graduate at this age, start a family at that age, and retire at this age. These are ideas that many millennials are discovering and is a primary cause of the steady decline in new marriages each year, about 5%.
Wow.
It's beginning to be.
Yeah, I mean, it all makes sense. You know, we don't have to worry about the survival of species or anything anymore. But how many people have we known that are like together,
But not
married?
Not married.
You know, and it's, I don't need a piece of paper to tell me how much I love somebody. But it's like.
But see, all that does is allow people that out.
Right. I always.
It was like, well, I didn't really cheat on him because we're not together.
Right. Or
I didn't. I didn't have to take care of him. I didn't have to share the money. I didn't have to do any of that because we're not together.
Right. Yeah.
That's all it does.
With my mother, even when she had long-term relationships, she had 12-year, 15-year relationships, it was still, she always held that over and it's like, well, I make my own money. I have my own bank account because we're not really married.
Exactly.
And it's like, so you guys keep saying that you don't need this to be in a commitment, but you keep throwing that around and, well, we're not really married. You know, exactly like you said. It's
yes.
Like, why? Yeah. I don't know. It's like, why even bother saying you're together? You know?
You shouldn't. If that's the case, just move on with your life because then you don't really love that person. You don't really want to better that person. Like in a relationship, you should want to better the person that you are with. Always try to make yourself better for them.
Right.
Always do what you can to help them become the better person.
Right. And then there's always what I call spiritual marriage. Sorry. And legal marriage. And you get married legally as a sign of some commitments. But, you know, like, I don't even care if you're not legally married, as long as you've had a ceremony and you have something like actually like a contract between the two of you that's written out, then that counts to me.
Yeah.
You know.
And we've had several different types of marriages.
Yeah, we got hand fasted in like 2007.
Yep.
And then we got actually married in 2008, and then we had a renewal in 2018. So you know, it's like we're always refreshing that and making sure that we're on the same page with our contract. You know, because our needs have changed and our lifestyle has changed.
Exactly.
We want to make sure we're on the same page, you know. But yeah, like legal marriage, that's like a whole different ballgame. That's just, you know, you get benefits from your government or whatever, you know. So there's like, it's just like gay marriage and stuff. Like, I don't believe it on a spiritual level, but on like a legal level, I do.
Yeah, because I mean, I understand if the gay people want to be together, that's cool, but they should not be stopped from being able to get their spouses like pensions or whatever if they die, or their like that life insurance.
Life insurance, right?
You know, they shouldn't be stopped from that.
Right, exactly. Or like being able to be stopped from taking care of children, you know, through that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that's totally not up to the state, you know.
No, that's up to the couple. If that's what they want, that should be allowed no matter the situation.
Yeah. So in that regard, I will always be like for them in getting married, so that they have the same legal rights when it comes to marriage. Just like they should be able to get the same benefits if they're living together, working together, paying taxes together. Why not? You know? So
well, they shouldn't even have to lie. I mean, if somebody wants somebody else to get their money or whatever, then there shouldn't be any issue there. It should just be like, okay.
But yeah, on a spiritual level, it's like that's a different story. I don't think it can work. But
no.
Two different things, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are benefits to legal marriage. You get like, you know, tax benefits and stuff, and then there's of course benefits to spiritual marriage.
Yes.
And if you happen to have both of those, then that shows ultra commitment.
Exactly, you know? It does. Yes.
Yep.
Be seen by many as an outdated, restricting institution that's simply not worth it. People keep getting married at older ages. In the 1960s, over half of Americans under 30 were married. The average age.
I gotta say, what's another thing that's ruined marriages has been cell phones.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
When people have been stuck to their cell phones, for one, talking to another person became easier.
Yeah, ease of accessibility. For sure.
You know, finding somebody else to go, you know,
just casual hookups.
Casual hookups became easier with a cell phone.
Yeah, and they invented apps just for that.
Yes.
You know, I mean, the internet was bad enough.
Yes.
You still had to go to work and do what you need to do and then run home and be on your computer. You know, you were stationary.
Yes.
And now it's like everything that used to be there is right here in your hand. and then some, and it's
Exactly.
ease of access, and you're always being tempted and bombarded. And
Yeah.
it's like even on our YouTube channel, sometimes there's like a blatantly naked woman like on
I know.
like a thumbnail,
Yeah.
like completely, or that black tape project thing that I showed.
Oh,
you.
I know. That is.
And then like so, it's just you're constantly being tempted and bombarded by
Yes.
these images and stuff. Yeah, cell phones, crazy.
It really is.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Age of marriage for a woman was about 20, and the average age for men was 23. Today, only 20% of people under 30 are married, and the average age for women is 26 and a half, and for men is nearly 29.
Hell, is this?
So let's take a look at some of the pros and cons of modern day marriage. First,
Yeah, but
the
we both
pros.
feel like that. Like,
Marriage is the ultimate showcase of commitment, an unbreakable love bond through sickness and health. But there are numerous legal, financial, social, and health advantages to getting hitched. The legal benefits. A married couple is seen as a single taxable unit in the eyes of the government. In most cases, this will save money on taxes when you claim your spouse is a dependent. There are estate planning benefits, including inheritance rights. Government benefits in receiving Social Security, Medicare, and disability benefits for your spouse. Employment benefits, such as obtaining health insurance through your spouse's employer, and the right to take medical leave to care for a spouse who becomes ill. Decision-making benefits, including the right to make medical decisions if your spouse is incapacitated. Consumer benefits, such as family rates for health, homeowners, auto, and other types of insurance.
yes.
Financial benefits. A 2005 study at The Ohio State University found that after getting married, people saw a sharp increase in their level of wealth. After 10 years of marriage, the couples reported an average net worth of around $43,000. Single people at the same age had a net worth of only $11,000. However, people who got divorced were worse off than any other group. After a divorce, the average man was left with $8,500 in assets, while the average divorced woman had only $3,400. Health benefits. Research has continued to show that married people live longer. The stability of a long marriage can act as a support structure throughout life. When one spouse is weak, the other gives care. Happily wedded patients who undergo major surgery are more than 3 times as likely to still be alive 15 years later when compared to their unmarried counterparts. There are also many perceived social benefits. Married people appear to be more stable, committed, and reliable. Having a long-standing marriage shows the world that at least someone can tolerate you. In the history of America, there have only been 2 unmarried presidents.
Yeah, and that can be hard sometimes. Tolerating me.
It's only hard right now because I'm just like tore myself inside out for you. So.
Presidents. The last one was Grover Cleveland in 1886, and he got married shortly into his first term. So a successful marriage can certainly lead to a happy, healthy, long life. Now, here are some of the cons. Let's start with the wedding. Sure, they're fun, and we all like cake, but the average wedding costs about $30,000. Over a third of married couples go into debt to pay off the big day, and half of those newlyweds are still paying the tab 5 years later. Chances are...
The thing is, though, you have to fall for that. There are ways of making things less on money and on everything else.
Did they say $30,000?
Something like that, yeah.
For a wedding?
Yeah. Said 5 years later, they're usually still in debt.
Yeah, that's so stupid. It's like the whole thing I was talking about with the expectation of what you guys are supposed to give us as a ring.
Yeah.
Supposed to be what? 3 months?
Yeah, 3 months salary.
Really? So if you work...
Tell everybody what you said if I did that.
Oh my gosh, it wouldn't happen. I would kill you. It'd be like it would show me that you were massively irresponsible with money, and that it could have been used for putting toward our future, and I would be really hesitant to want to be with you.
Exactly.
There's just no way. And it's like our rings cost about, I think, $600. I still have it to this day.
Yeah.
It's like my dress only cost about $600.
Yeah.
And we had a really minimalistic wedding. I do not think that it cost more than $10,000 for everything.
No, and we flew.
Yeah, and we stayed for 2 weeks in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, it's the same thing with why they say you can't have children. They're like, oh, it's too expensive. That's
Doesn't
just
have to be.
bullshit. You know, you make your own food, make your own clothes, make it work any way you can. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that way. That drives me nuts.
Yeah,
But
it's really is ridiculous.
I mean, when Kimberly was planning her wedding, I mean, I remember it racking up pretty big, and it's like, so you just want the party. You don't really care about the commitment or anything behind it. You just want the party. You know,
That's what they're paying for.
Image, you know?
That's what they're paying for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool.
No.
It's not why you want to get married. You know.
Exactly.
I wanted to marry you to make, to make it
Ta-da.
to make it a real thing. You know, I wanted the paperwork. I wanted the ceremony, and
Yes.
I didn't really care. You know, I mean, I wanted a nice ceremony, but I mean, we didn't even have anybody else there. You know, there was no showing off.
Exactly.
You know, it was just us, and I got this pretty dress for you, and you dressed well for me, and
Exactly.
that was.
I didn't wear the dress. That was.
Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. No, you had a really nice jacket that you still
Yep,
wear to this
still
day.
do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's a nice one, you know.
Yes.
Or by the time you're finished paying off your wedding, it will be time to start paying for your divorce. Roughly half of all marriages in the U.S. end in divorce. This is another big reason millennials don't see the value in marriage anymore. Why start something if it's probably going to fail? Much of the millennial generation grew up with single or divorced parents. Their entire youth was back and forth between bickering parents, overhearing never-ending conversations of legal disputes and custody battles. Another huge factor contributing to men's disinterest in marriage is the fact that marriage isn't what it used to be. 100 years ago, having a wife meant having someone who would raise your kids, clean your house, and cook your meals. This may not be an ideal dynamic for everyone, but men used to have much to gain from getting married. Now there are more women than men in the workforce, and more women than men have college degrees. Much like the bonobos, many women today no longer need a man to provide for them, and they're not interested in being a homemaker. There seems to be a direct correlation between the liberation of women and the decline in men seeking marriage. In areas where women are highly educated and career-oriented, the marriage rates are the lowest. Although marriage rates continue to decline, both men and women agree that parenting is still a high priority. 52% of millennials say that being a good parent is one of the most important things in life, while only 29% assign high importance to getting married. This shows that millennials don't think that they necessarily need to be married in order to have a family. Many are choosing to avoid the headache and create a love bond and raise kids on their own terms. There are plenty of legal alternatives to getting married, like a domestic partnership, civil union, or creating a will. The truth is, you can have just about all the benefits of marriage without actually getting married. You can have a lifelong partner who supports your goals. You can have a soulmate. You can have a family, a shared home, financial wealth, and good health.
Yes, you can have all that, but again, all that is a cop-out. Why not go the extra step and have that certificate stating that you want to be with that person, so it's on record showing, hey, I'm committed.
Yeah, you actually have commitment, you know.
Instead, you're just saying, no, it's good, we don't need to have it, because if we're going to get divorced, which, you know, over half ended that way, you know, I don't want to have that mess.
And it's like most of the time you still will, because there is children involved usually.
Yes.
And there is a house that you've been living in together for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So of course, you know, they think they're going to get away with it, but it can still be a very ugly legal battle. And yeah, I never got that. And like I said, at least if you're not going to do it through the government, at least do a contract, like a real contract, a written contract between the two of you.
Yes.
You know, like that still counts. You know, that's a legally binding thing, and it's a spiritually binding thing. So, you know, I just never understood why. I don't know. It would make me really uncomfortable to be in that position, I think.
But it's like, you know, it's our parents that started the whole divorce thing. Just freely divorcing.
On the day of my mother's wedding, you know, she's like, I'm not nervous at all, because if this goes south, I can just divorce him.
And that's not how it should be.
She ended up getting the crap beat out of her by that guy.
Our grandparents' era, they never would have thought of divorce. It was frowned upon.
Almost to a fault.
Yeah.
Because it was like, my grandmother, there was some questionable things that happened in their marriage earlier on, and it's like, I don't know, I probably would have considered divorce in that situation, but they didn't, and they kept it going, and she was together with him for like 57 years.
Yes.
And
now you rarely hear that. I mean, you rarely have them lasting 5 years.
I know. We get a lot of like shocked responses when I say we've been together almost 20.
Yes.
Next year will be 20 years,
and hopefully another 20 to come.
Unless one of us dies, both of us.
I'll still be married to you.
That's true. Because our vows go beyond death. We're
Yes.
we're like. Now, we are ultra committed. We have, like, it goes beyond death into the next life, and it has been before. And
Exactly.
there's, like, no escaping it.
No.
It's like,
We're here.
we have to go through a bunch of hoops if that's the case.
We have 2 kids now. We're
Oh
here.
my God, that seems
We're
so weird.
doing it.
Seems so weird to say.
2 sons.
Health without the state mandated license. So maybe those bonobos had it right all along. Do your own research. Assess your own goals and list your priorities. If your goal is to travel the world and check out the Tinder scene in every city, then maybe marriage isn't right for you. That's okay. Do not pressure yourself. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or tell us your thoughts in the comments section. And for more interesting weekly animations, be sure to subscribe to After School.
Now we're going on to Jordan Peterson stuff. He's got a 10-minute one and then a, what do you call it, like a 3-minute one.
Story, right? The Oedipal mother is the mother who devours her child by refusing, by overprotecting him or her, so that instead of being...
Yeah, we're just talking about how good of a speaker Jordan Peterson is. He's great. The next 2 are on this one, so we'll be ending it after him, and
Yeah.
let's see what he has to say about it.
being strengthened by an encounter with the terrible world, they're weakened by too much protection, and then when they're let out into the world, they cannot live. And that's the story of Sleeping Beauty, and that's what the king and queen do. And they apologize to Maleficent when she first shows up and say, well, they have a bunch of half-witted excuses why they don't invite her. We forgot. It's like, I don't think so. You don't forget something like that. And she kind of makes that point. It's right, the whole horror of life. You don't forget about that when you have a child, that's for sure. You might wish that it would stay at bay, but you do not forget about it. The question is, do you invite it to the party? And the answer is, it bloody well depends how unconscious you want your child to be. And if you want your child to be unconscious, well, then you have the added advantage that maybe they won't leave home. And so you can take advantage of them for the rest of your sad life instead of going off to find something to do for yourself. Well, and then, of course, you can take revenge on them if they do have any what would you call impetus towards courage that you sacrificed yourself 30 years ago and want to stamp out as soon as you see it develop in your child. That's another thing that would be quite pleasant. And so that's what happens in Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, well, none of this is pleasant, and nothing that happens in that story is pleasant. So Sleeping Beauty, she's naive as hell. They put her out in the forest and have her raised by these 3 like goody two-shoes fairies that are also completely devoid of any real potency and power, right? There's nothing maleficent about them. And then the first idiot prince that wanders by, she falls in love with so badly that she has post-traumatic stress disorder when he rides off on his horse, right? That's what happens. And then she goes into the castle and she's all freaked out because she met the love of her life for like 5 minutes, for God's sake. And that's when the spinning wheel, that's the wheel of fate, pops up and she pricks her finger, right? They try to get rid of all the spinning wheels. They try to get rid of all the wheels of fate with their pointed end. But she finds it, pricks her finger and falls down unconscious. Well, she wants to be unconscious. And no bloody wonder. She was protected her whole life. She's so damn naive that her first love affair just about kills her. She wants to go to sleep and never wake up. And so that's exactly what happens. And then she has to wait for the prince to come and rescue her. Well, you think, how sexist can you get, that story? Well, seriously, because that's the way that would be read in the modern world. It's like she doesn't need a prince to rescue her. That's why Disney made Frozen that.
That's literally what they were talking about with the new Sleeping Beauty. Not Sleeping Beauty,
Snow White.
Snow White, right?
Yeah.
He's talking about Sleeping Beauty, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, he's right, absolutely. Through the lens of the new world and the modern era, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yes.
Same exact thing that they try to do with this new retelling of Snow White. And it's like, like I'm breaking into your house and I need a place to stay, but it's really dirty in here, so you guys are going to have to clean it up before I feel comfortable. Whereas the original story was, well, I need a place to stay. Oh my gosh, will you take mercy on me? I'll clean your house for you if you let me stay. So they stripped all of that, put that modern,
let's not be generous. Let's not be nice about it.
Right.
It's that boss be, no, I earn this.
Right. And remember, they said that they're gonna. No, the prince isn't gonna save her. She's her own woman. She's gonna, because that was pretty creepy because he's like, watching her from
stalker
and stuff. It's like, what? I mean, okay, so how come that? Why is it such a timeless tale?
Yes.
That women have loved forever. If it's so creepy and weird.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
It's always been loved, and it's just some of the new age people that want to take it to another level.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's what reminded me of when he's talking about this. It's like,
yes,
through the lens of the modern era, all these beautiful stories of love and commitment and stuff, and falling head over heels with somebody you just met, out the window.
It is, for sure.
Gone. Is there anything about it?
An absolutely appalling piece of rubbish.
Rubbish.
So, you can say, well, the princess doesn't need a prince to rescue her, but that's a boneheaded way of looking at the story, because the prince isn't just a man who's coming to rescue.
The princess is in another castle.
Yeah, even down to that, Mario saved the princess. But you see now that they're, Princess Peach has her own game, and I'm surprised she doesn't save Mario in that one. Maybe
I know, right?
I don't know if she does or not, to be honest.
I know.
But, it's like, I don't know. It's like they took away those soft feminine qualities, and it's like I said, we have always been able to do amazing things and survive.
Yes.
But we're made to be loved and cherished, and fought for.
Exactly.
It's like crazy.
Not fighting yourself,
right?
And putting this new age stress on a woman that can't handle it.
Exactly.
No matter what she wants to try to think.
That's right. You're not designed for that. Are you running low on battery?
Yeah. 20%, and I just got these last two. We should.
If it gets down to 5, then
we should be okay.
Rescue the woman, and believe me, he's got his own problems, right? He's got a whole goddamn dragon he has to contend with, but the prince also represents the woman's own consciousness. The consciousness is presented very frequently in stories as symbolically masculine, as it is with the logos idea. And the idea is that without that forward-going, courageous consciousness, a woman herself will drift into unconsciousness and terror. And so you can read it as, well, the woman who's sleeping needs a man to wake her up. And of course, just like a man needs a woman to wake him up, it's the same damn thing. That's the dragon fight in Sleeping Beauty. But it's also the case that if she's only unconscious, all she can do is lay there and sleep, like the sleep of the naive and damned. She has to wake herself up and bring her own consciousness, her own masculine consciousness into the forefront so that she can survive in the world. Of course, women are trying to do that like mad. But that's partly what's represented in the story. Like,
can you remember the one of the Shreks, the one where he was never born? Remember, and she ended up becoming this hyper masculine, warrior babe out in the woods, but she started off every day writing about waiting for the prince and wanting the prince and wanting the family and wanting the fairy tale, and then he never came and he never rescued her.
Yes.
And she had to rescue herself. I'm like, what happened?
And it's like I had just said this before Peterson said that. Exactly that. It's like the feminine, the masculine energy that the female now has to have.
Yeah, to bring yourself out of it. And it's like you do not need to do that. You're not made to do that, and it doesn't look good on us.
No, it doesn't. It's way too much stress. The female hormones doesn't want to do it.
Yeah. We're totally adapted to a totally different type of stress, and that stress should be easy. And now they talk about that stress, like managing a household, having children, dealing with kids. They act like that's like the worst stress that they can handle.
Yeah.
They're like, I'd rather be out working and doing it, and because this is like the worst. I can't. It's like, this should be easy for you. This is what we're made to do.
Exactly.
So it's like polarized.
But they don't want to admit it. That's the problem.
And it's like, we can deal with stresses of wildfires and natural disasters and everything. That's fine. But this menial everyday grind and wear and tear of expectations of bosses and time constraints and, you know, deadlines. It's like, we're not made for that.
No.
You know, making our own money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we're not made for that.
No.
And I'm sorry, but like your mother, my mother, they couldn't manage their money.
No,
you know,
not at all.
For all the work that they were doing, you know, your mother worked in the county and mine was a nurse, and they had good jobs. They couldn't manage money.
No, they couldn't. They'd want to go spend it because, well, I'm only going to live once. I mean, really? You're only going to live once? You're not going to have other people that you want to maybe help out, pass on the money?
Right.
What's this egotistical attitude of, well, I'm only going to live once, I'm going to spend my money?
Right, I don't get that. Yeah,
No.
I don't get that. Matt Walsh had a thing about that too, and it was like something happened with, you know, our parents' generation.
Yes.
Which they were just incredibly selfish like that. And I can't see it. I just can't see it. It's like, what is the point of this money if you are not helping somebody else, especially your own bloodline?
I mean,
you know?
We only have so much, and I'll still help other people out whenever I can.
For sure. And when it comes to him, it's like we're building this whole place up so he has security.
Yes.
So that he has a place to live and he has food to eat, and you know, his generations will be taken
exactly.
care of. We might not be able to give him money, but we can give him that security. And now him as well.
Yes, exactly.
Know? And they'll have a place. And
yes.
They'll never have to worry about that.
No, they won't. They'll always be here.
But like our parents didn't think that way.
No.
And
your mother lost your house.
Right. And up until that point, I was told the same thing. It was like, you know, you'll live here as long as you want to, and then you'll take it over, and you know, I'll go travel, and then this will be your house, and you can take care of it.
See?
And then you can.
It's the lies.
Yeah.
And then
like
that's it.
I was raised that you secure land, and you develop that land, and then that's what is the inheritance of your people.
Yes.
You know? I just don't understand.
I don't either. I really don't.
And yeah, and if I had a bunch of money, that's all I'd be wanting to do is buy stuff for my offspring and to help them with their futures and everything. Because God damn it, life is hard enough, and it's like, why not help them? Even if you weren't helped, you know, because you always get that too. Nobody helped me.
I know.
It's like, yeah, and look how you turned out. You're a bitter old hag. You know, so it's like, but so it didn't happen for you. Don't you think that it'd be nice for you to do it for them? You know, I mean, as long as you're not crippling them.
What would Jesus do?
Exactly.
That's what you got to look at.
Build people up, man.
Yes.
Like that. And that's partly what's implicit in this idea, is that unless the woman is taken out of man, so to speak, then she isn't a human being. She's just a creature. And that's partly what's embedded in this story. So you don't want to read it as a patriarchal. You don't want to read anything that way. So really, it's yeah. I won't bother with that. But really, we can do better than that. And therefore, shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. It's like, yeah. The other thing about marriage, this is really worth knowing too, is that, you know, I learned this in part from reading Jung. It's like, what do you do when you get married? That's easy. You take someone who's just as useless and horrible as you are, and then you shackle yourself to them. And then you say, we're not running away, no matter what happens. Yeah, well, that's perfect, because then you don't get to run away. And the thing is like, if you can run away, you can't tell each other the truth. Because if you tell someone the truth about you and they don't run away, they weren't listening. And so if you don't have someone around that can't run away, then you can't tell them the truth. And so that's part of the purpose of the marriage. It's like, okay, I'll bet on you, you bet on me. It's a losing bet. We both know that. But given our current circumstances, we're unlikely to find anyone better. That's for sure. You know, there's two things that come off of that. One is, you know, people are waiting around to find Mr. or Mrs. Right. It's like, here's something to think about, man, to put yourself on your feet right. If you went to a party and you found Mr. Right, and he looked at you and didn't run away screaming, that would indicate that he wasn't Mr. Right at all. Right? It's like the old Nietzschean joke. If someone loves you, that should immediately disenchant you with them. Right. Or it's the Woody Allen joke. I never belonged to a club that would take me as a member. So that's a very interesting thing to think about. And so you're going to shackle yourself to someone who's just as imperfect as you are. And then the issue is you might be in a situation where you can actually negotiate, because you might think, well, there's some things about you that aren't going so right, and there's some things about me that aren't going so right, and we're bloody well stuck with the consequences for the next 50 years. So we can either straighten this out, or we can suffer through it for the next 5 decades. And you know, people are of the sort that without that degree of seriousness, those problems will not be solved. You'll leave things unnamed, because there's always an out. It's like, and it's the same thing when you're living together with someone. You know that people who live together before they're married are more likely to get divorced, not less likely. And the reason for that is, what exactly are you saying to one another when you live with each other? Just think about it. Well, for now, you're better than anything else I can trick. But I'd like to reserve the right to trade you in. Conveniently, if someone better happens to stumble into me.
Yep.
Well, how could someone not be insulted to their core by an offer like that? Now they're willing to play along with it because they're going to do the same thing with you. Now, well, that's exactly it. It's like, yeah, I know you're not going to commit to me, so that means you don't value me or our relationship above everything else. But as long as and I'm willing to put up with that, it's like, that's a hell of a thing. I mean, you might think, how stupid is it to shackle yourself to someone? It's like, it's stupid, man. There's no doubt about that. But compared to the alternatives, it's pretty damn good. Because without that shackle, you'll never, ever learn, because you'll avoid them. You can always leave. And if you can leave, then you don't have to tell each other the truth. It's as simple as that, because you can just leave. And then you don't have anyone you can tell the truth to.
No, I've got to say, you know, I've been married to my best friend and favorite person to be around now for almost 20 years, we said.
20 years, yeah.
And I wouldn't change that for anything.
It does force you to live in truth, though.
Yes.
It's like, especially if, I mean, I know that there's people that have had secrets that last 30, 40 years in a marriage, and I'm not really sure how.
I don't know either.
Because it's like, for me, it's always been, it's like you are forced to stand in truth and bear the last little bit of yourself.
Yes.
There's nowhere to hide. You know, it's like everything will come out, and it forces you to ascend as a person.
Yeah, especially when you live righteously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess if you're living in lies in general, you could probably get away with it. But
yeah.
A true marriage.
Yes.
It's like there's just like no way to escape it. You know, it's
nope,
gonna strip you bare of everything, and you're gonna be exposed.
Exactly.
You know? It's like you've been there for me through the painkiller incidents and my drinking and rage, and still with my rage, and you know, there's nowhere to hide from that.
No, I know.
Then you were also there to find out, you know, and remind me of why I am the way that I am that way.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's to be expected when this happened to you, and when you were raised in that way, and you forced me to think about that so I can make a change on how I don't want to be perceived by my own offspring.
Exactly.
That's a
we've had just about as bad as stuff, you know, that you've had to go through with me. I mean, you know, we both had to learn what's happened to each other.
And you've been kicked out for 18 months and lived on the streets and seen that side of things. And I had to be a single mother basically during that point because everybody else abandoned me. And so we had to struggle without each other.
But then it drew us even closer together, right?
It did, because we knew what was missing. You know,
yes.
Like we were like, we can't do this on our own.
Yeah.
You don't want to do this on our own. We have to do this together. And you would think that would have made my mother happy to hear, but it didn't.
No, it drove her further away. And that's fine, because we don't need to be around people that hate one of us.
They're actively trying to actively always supposed to do.
Yes.
And not complain and just accept things as they are. And like, damn it, everything got so.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's amazing. You know, we both got off of the painkillers. We both got off of just about everything.
We don't drink. We haven't drank. Yeah. You know, it's like ceremonially we drink. I think we've drank maybe times in the past like 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, not even once a year do we get to drink. You know.
Just don't want to.
No.
It's like we used to drink just to drink, and now it's like, well, why?
Well, I drank always to go to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep.
Always to be awake and dealing with
anything. Yeah.
Like I said, when we were separated, I drank rum every day, all day for like, you know, at least 6 months. I mean,
yeah.
It was probably closer to the whole year. Absinthe.
Your mother didn't help the situation. She didn't. She didn't try to solve it for you.
And I know damn well she knew that I was just completely drunk all the time off my ass. You know.
Yeah.
And then when we got back together, she has this nerve to say, well, it just seemed like when you guys were separated, you were so much happier. I'm like, I was drunk. I'm like, yeah. All the time. I'm like, there was I mean, I wake up and go, I mean, I didn't really even sleep. I just drank, you know, and popped pills.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I was happier and healthier. She said she literally thought I looked happier and healthier during that point when we were separated. And I was like, okay. That's when I knew that she was full of it and just trying to keep me.
Yeah. Snowed.
Yeah. And I even told her that. I'm like, I was drinking all the time. I'm like, and she's like, yeah, well, I guess that's true. And I'm like, you know, but it forced us to see what life was like without each other.
Yeah, it did.
And we've been better for it ever since. You
know, life is amazing.
It is.
You just got to know what you're doing.
You have to grit up.
Yep.
And get through it. You know?
Exactly, and it got even better those last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're the most in our life.
Like our tribe is now expanded. You know, Guru was the blueprint, and if he wasn't so awesome, I never would have considered it again.
I mean, Wolfboy over here has 2,000 subscribers on his channel.
2007.
Yeah, 2007. So I mean, an amazing job that he's done with that channel.
He's done really good overcoming adversity too, because I mean, all of this stuff happened when he was only, 5 or 6 years old.
Yes.
Like it started happening when he was 4. You weren't even there at his 5th birthday party.
Nope.
You weren't there for his first day of school because it was so bad.
Yeah.
And my mother and we fought all the time, and he was always like, I don't want to be here. I want to be at home. I miss my cats.
See, yeah, he already had started that I want to be home thing. Then you were away helping your mother for 2/3 of the time.
Yeah. You have
just one of the catalysts that drove us the way it did, and then inevitably drives us straight back too.
Yeah. I remember the night before coming back together with you, I prayed, and I was like, just give me a sign, tell me what I'm supposed to do, tell me where I'm supposed to be. And a wildfire broke out that night.
And drove you guys.
And drove me right home, It was like a 6-hour drive around the back way, but, it took me home, and I was like, that's my sign.
Exactly.
Like, it had to literally flush me here, and like, this is where I'm going to stay.
Yep.
And she didn't like that, and we fought over it for another 2 or 3 years after that.
To where we finally said, you know what, that's fine. This is our life. If you don't want to be a part of it, bye. And unfortunately, it stayed.
But at least we found out where we were.
Yeah, we did.
We were at, and it was still rocky in the beginning, and we still have our. It's always something.
Yeah.
We're not nitpicking, and we're always on the same page now.
Yes.
It's like there's no question about it. We're always on the same page, working toward the same goal. So even if there's arguments and everything, we go to bed and wake up in the morning on the same page.
We do, yes.
At least I like to think so.
Oh, we do.
So there's some representations of the idea of the original. This isn't all Adam. This is an old Chinese symbol. I think it's Fuxian, although I think I have the pronunciation wrong, but it's really cool. See the snakes down here? They're kind of like a DNA symbol, which I find very interesting. And so that's the original cosmic serpent. That's sort of the potential out of which that emerges. And then that's the differentiation of that into male and female. And so that's like the predatory unknown. That's one way of thinking about it. That's the most fundamental conception of mankind, is something like that, is the predatory unknown. And then the bifurcation of that into the two fundamental cognitive elements of human perception, masculine and female. And you see the same thing here. This is Chinese, this is Egyptian, also extraordinarily old. It's the great serpent that underlies everything, bifurcating itself into Isis, queen of the underworld, and Osiris, king pharaoh, king of order. You see the same thing in an old alchemical symbol. I love this one. Looks quite a lot like the little thing that Harry Potter chases around, eh? Yeah, and that's not accidental, by the way, because the seeker is the thing that chases this, and the seeker that chases this and catches it wins. And that's a really old idea, and how the hell J.K. Rowling knew that, I cannot figure out, because that is a very, very archaic symbol, arcane symbol. On Google, it's called the round chaos. And the only reference to the round chaos that I can find on Google is on my webpage. And so I have no idea how Rowling came up with that. I mean, I know she looked at a lot of old texts, but the idea that if you play the metagame and you catch this, you win all the games is exactly right. And that's the motif for, what's the name of that? Quidditch. Yeah. So there's the potential. That's like the potential out of which God made the world at the beginning of time. And what emerges out of that is some kind of, that's the dragon, you know, in the dragon fight. That's partly the serpent that's in the Garden of Eden. And then that's the manifestation of masculine and feminine out of that. Potential, predatory unknown, masculine and feminine. It's like a single representation of the evolutionary history of human cognitive consciousness. So cool. And that's also an image of the ideal. It's the union of sun and moon, and it's this hyper creature, hermaphroditic, that's also the Adam and Eve that existed at the beginning of time before the fall. And it's the purpose of marriage. All of that as a sacrament, all of that in these images, it's just absolutely unbelievable what images can pack into them.
That was good.
If we were supposed to have multiple...
If you judge the success of your marriage on...
If we were supposed to have multiple, like, wives and stuff, you know, if we were supposed to have multiple wives and everything, then why in that story of Adam and Eve was he just given one woman at a time? Exactly.
To find the right one. You're supposed to have just one and that's it.
Right. So it's like, otherwise, you know, it would have been Adam and a smattering of females that he could impregnate and everything, but he made them struggle together alone.
Exactly.
Even when they were kicked out of the garden, it was like, you know,
they were together.
Together. You know.
Yes.
One man, one woman.
Even though Adam didn't do anything wrong, it was Eve that did it.
Right. Well,
so,
he did when he like got tempted, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, even if you're coerced and even if you're, you know, tricked, you still shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
So that's why I always say, even like with my situation with the abortions, it was like it was forced, but it was still a sin on my part because you still have free will.
Yep, we do.
Yeah. Even if I was tricked.
Still made the decision.
Yes, I mean, still went through it.
It's true. And it still kills me to this day. But I mean,
up for it now.
Yeah, and look, we were gifted a most here, and I mean, have another one after some of the stuff is like just a miracle.
It really is. I mean, it's like, you know, I never thought we'd be here again. I thought that'd be my eternal punishment.
I know.
So it's like, no matter how much pain I went through, I remember that moment.
Yes.
It's like, this is making up for that moment. You know?
It's very true. And I mean, just to see him born and help deliver him is just an amazing experience.
He did good. He did really good. I was like looking at you, like, okay, I see your feet. You know, you're there. We'll have to share that next week.
Yeah, next week, ladies and gentlemen, the whole experience that we had with Amos here being born, what we did. We're gonna share it all for you guys.
Yeah, I didn't record the actual birthing process, so I don't have to worry about that.
But raw footage and
got some videos of him when he was just born, right? I mean, just came out.
Yes. So we'll be showing you guys all of that because you guys deserve to see it too.
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. I mean, it was right here at home.
Yep.
In our bathroom. You know. Right on.
So you guys will get to see it next Friday. That one will be. All right, this is a 4-minute one, and then we'll close out today's thing. I think we're almost at 2 hours already.
Nice.
And we're about to die here also. An hour and a half.
Do you have time for this?
Yeah, I do. I think I still have like 14% still, so we're good.
You're good.
Your happiness, what do you have when it's nothing but suffering? What you want to have in your marriage is, first and foremost, like a scrupulous honesty. And I don't just mean that you tell each other the truth, because you can be brutal with the truth. I mean the kind of honesty that's devoted towards thriving in love. You want someone, I think, in a relationship that you can spar with.
Yes, she's a very nice type.
You got types?
Only you, darling.
And it's partly because you have hard problems to solve. And if the person that you're with isn't willing to put forward their opinion, then you only have half the cognitive power that you would otherwise have. Hopefully you find someone who's interestingly different from you, like not so different that you can't communicate. You know, then your interest stays heightened, and there has to be that tension in a relationship.
If you want to have a staring contest with me, you will lose.
Here's the key to a good relationship. It's not the only one, but watch your person carefully. And whenever they do something that you would like them to do more of, tell them that was really good and mean it. And it's not manipulative, because if it's manipulative, it won't work. It's like you have to say, wow, I'm so glad you did that. And you have to be precise. You know, if you're dating, when you're establishing a relationship, well, you put some effort into it. You know, you decide that you're going to go out for dinner and you dress up to some degree, and, you know, you try to present yourself to each other in some halfways mutually acceptable manner. And you hope that there's going to be a positive consequence of that you're going to find each other attractive.
Yes, I saw this, that they're dancing in the street, and I just thought about our first dance as a married couple.
Oh, yeah.
It was at Oak Alley Plantation, Louisiana, which is where we got married. And it was literally, it started raining, and we had our first dance in the rain.
Yeah, it was, it was August in Louisiana, so there was these incredible thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And so, like, our marriage morning, the morning of our wedding day,
yep,
it was like from 4 o'clock on, it was just storming like I've
never seen. It was a big storm. We were getting ready because we got married at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So we had to, we were up by 4 o'clock getting ready.
And I never seen anything like it to this day. And they said it was a little storm. Like, oh, that's just a common little storm.
To us, it's like, oh my, Californians.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, lightning, and just lit everything up, and it was shaking the whole little house, the whole cottage and stuff. But then, like, right at the point where we were supposed to be married, it lifted, and we had this beautiful, like, mist that was kind of collected on everything. So we had this awesome mist for our marriage. And then right after, it closed back up and stormed again.
Yes.
And we were out by the sugar cane, and we had our first dance out in the rain, and
then I carried you across the threshold, soaking wet.
It was like, no joke, it had to have been about 300 pounds.
Yeah. Because
that was a lot of fabric. It was soaked.
And I still did it, and I actually don't think I hit your head on anything that time.
No, it was good. We were good.
Done it before, but...
No, I know. But, yeah, that was cool, though. Our first dance,
It was.
But then people somehow think that once they're married, that the same amount of effort isn't necessary, and that's wrong. One of the practices that my wife and I have that really helped us a tremendous amount is we had instituted a policy of regular dates. And that was at her impetus. I was resistant to the idea to begin with, but not for long. When you're exhausted with kids, when you've worked all day and you're kind of up to here and you're tired, it's easy to drop the intimate part of your marriage to number 11 on a list of 10 priorities. When you're an adult with adult responsibilities, you have to carve out the time and you have to make a willful effort. And that's way too important to have it depend on something like unpredictable and arbitrary whim. My rule of thumb, sort of derived from clinical observations, is that you need to spend 90 minutes a week with your partner talking. And that means you're telling each other about your life and staying in touch, you know, so that you each know what the other is up to. And you're discussing what needs to be done to keep the household running smoothly. And you're laying out some mutually acceptable vision of how the next week or the next months are going to go together, right? So that keeps your narratives locked together like the strands in a rope. You need that for 90 minutes or you drift apart. And you need to spend intimate time together at least once a week and probably more like twice. And that has to be negotiated. And if you don't negotiate it and if you don't make it a priority, then it won't happen. You know, what do you want from a partner fundamentally? Well, hopefully, you, like I said, you're blessed with the fact that you find each other attractive. And I think it's very difficult for the relationship to begin or proceed or sustain itself without that. But having that, then what do you want? Well, you want someone that you can trust. You want someone that you can build a view of the future with. And you want someone that you can negotiate with. And that's very hard to negotiate with people because they have to tell you what they think. They have to know what they want or figure it out. They have to tell you what they want. They have to be satisfied when they get what they want, which is also a very difficult thing to manage.
Yes.
And you have to continually update.
One of the things that I've always said is like, you're never going to guess where I'm standing on any given subject. It's like, I'm always going to be as clear as possible about how I feel about something, and I will state the facts of like, you know, why I feel that way.
Brutally honest sometimes.
Right. But you're not ever going to have to guess and wonder like how I feel about like those serious subjects in life. And,
Yes.
like, I've already accepted as like, you're going to do what you're going to do. But at least you're going into it with the information that I've given you, and you can make an educated choice.
Yes, exactly.
You can let that marinate in your head that, you know, that this is how she feels about this. This is why she feels that way.
Yes.
And you can make that better decision, you know, but I still have to accept and let it go and understand that that's part of your decision and your journey, and I can't control that.
It's true.
But you're never going to have to guess, you know.
And I never have.
Where I stand.
We become great on communication that way.
Like eating healthy, and
yes,
you know, that was a big one, and you know how like
because I was not the healthiest of people.
Yeah, the unhealthiest either. But
no,
you know, it's like I don't think you understood like how much just the occasional soda here and there actually impacted you. And
well, I wasn't just your occasional soda drinker.
But even like more, in more recent years.
Yes,
know, like not the past few, but you know, like just like, you know, 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's like you say it's okay every now and then to have it, but is it, you know? And so,
exactly.
So I was like, well, this is actually what it does, and it doesn't take that much for it to
no, it doesn't.
System.
Especially since it's had so much time to do it already.
Right, but I will never come out and say, well, I don't want you doing that.
Yeah,
like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. I'm not going to say that. You know, I'm just going to tell you, like, this is why I feel the way that I do. And
yes.
I don't suggest that you be doing it, but then I have to accept that you're going to do what you're going to do. You know,
it's true.
And I don't know if you're as blunt as I am about your expectations of things.
No, but I mean, I try to be as open as I can with you about it.
You're pretty clear about what your expectations are of me in particular situations. So I honor that to the best of my ability. But at the end of the day, we all have free will, and
yes,
you know,
you do.
You can only hope that you're a good enough of an influence to have that person make the right decision.
Exactly. I mean, that's all that you can do, and just accept it.
Yep. Acceptance is key.
Yep.
I hate that because your life goes through different stages, and then if you're lucky, now and then, you might be happy. And you might have a clear enough conscience so that in those rare moments where you are truly happy, you can also enjoy it without guilt. And so you aim at something a lot higher than happiness, and then you welcome it if it deigns to land on you for brief moments of time.
All right.
Yeah, he's got good ones on marriage. Like is when I'm just straight up negotiating, you know?
Yes. I love Jordan Peterson with his stuff, yes. And his marriage one, the whole
yeah, the one that was on the Daily Wire.
Yeah, I want to do something with it. We might one day. So.
Yeah. Just I don't know.
Win yet.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. That'd be a good one if we start doing a Monday musings again.
Yes, for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for next Woke Wednesday, where we'll go over more absurd wokeness that has been going on in this world.
Well, we'll see what happens now, since people are still melting down.
I know.
The,
There's a lot more.
Trump's win and everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I was reading comments today about people that have lost family, friends. You know, they've just been like unfriended and blocked by their own family because they were Trump supporters or because they didn't vote.
That's ridiculous.
And it takes me right back to 2016 when I never heard from Carrie again.
I know.
You
Carrie
know?
and Josh both just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, she was supposed to, you know, I mean, she was like well ingrained in our life and everything, and then she was one of the ones to point her finger at me and say, if you don't vote, you're the problem. And then next thing I know, Trump wins and I never hear from her again.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so I'm like, I can't help but think that was a factor.
Probably.
You know?
Yeah.
But either way, I was reading a bunch of comments and they're doing it again.
It's ridiculous.
We shouldn't be that divided over something like this.
Especially family.
Exactly.
But I mean, we know how our family is.
Right.
So, I mean, there's no shock there.
Right. But, you know, like, I know that your dad probably is, he's like a Democrat, you know.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't support Trump, but he doesn't point the finger at us and say that we have to go vote and do that kind of thing. He doesn't bring that up ever. You know, there's something called boundaries.
Yeah, there is.
It's like if you observe those boundaries.
And you can know that somebody doesn't have your views, but still respect them and honor what they do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, like in his presence, I just don't talk about those sorts of
Yeah,
things.
for
you know,
sure.
I don't talk about like conspiracy theorist stuff, you know, and you know, people that are sensitive about the COVID and everything, I just don't talk about that.
Exactly.
Just out of respect, you know, I just like let it lie. It's not a thing, you know.
Nope, it's not.
But, yeah, so I guess we can maybe cover something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. And then Friday will be our big special on most and how all that went. Yep.
That was a hell of an experience.
It was probably like at least 2 hour.
Most likely.
One, so that we can cover everything and get you guys all in on what we did. You know.
We got the whole pregnancy journey that we went through, and then the labor and delivery.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on this day, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week for the start of another absurd week.
Yeah. Good job.